This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another sports catastrophe on the stage. And on this day, June 25th, 1988, Euro ended. I know that you'd be crazy thinking, why are you talking about Euro 88? Why it's so important? It's one of the great. It was placed for one of the greatest goals in Euro history and international tournament history, if you will. Some say it's the greatest Euro goal ever. So it is June 25th, 1988, in Munich at the Olympiastadion. The Dutch and the Soviets were going to fight each other for the top European prize and all of that. So, anyway, in 1988, things were different in Euro. The Euros nowadays have 24 teams in, but in 1988, you only had 8 teams. So the Soviets were in a qualifying group with East Germany, France, Iceland, and Norway. Instantaneously, you'll think, well, that it's definitely going to be France because France were the defending Euro champions and all that. They finished top of the group of the qualifying group, 5 wins, 3 ties to finish top ahead of East Germany. France had faltered in a sense. And all of that. The Dutch qualified top in group qualifying 5 with Greece, Hungary, Poland, and Cyprus. So there were only 8 teams involved in Euro 88. Oddly enough, the Netherlands and the Soviets would face each other in the same group. For the Dutch, they looked good, but they lost on a goal by Vasily Rats. And that is his last name, Rats, R-A-T-S. So Dutch fans would probably say Rats. That's it. The Dutch would face England in the second match. And Marco van Basten put up a hat trick to basically put England out of their misery and all that. The Dutch would face Ireland and beat Ireland. They would be second place in Group 2 behind the Soviets. So that meant the Soviets and Dutch went to the semifinals. The Dutch would face West Germany, the host of Euro 88, and a massive rival for soccer. People say that Germany's real rival in soccer is not England, it's the Netherlands. I tend to agree. But anyway, Hamburg would host this match. And then Lothar Matthäus scored a penalty shot to make it 1-0. Then Van Basten ran into the Germany box, was tackled by Jurgen Kohler. Ronald Koeman came in and scored to make it 1-1. And less than 2 minutes left, Van Basten managed to catch the ball on a half volley and put it in the net. The Dutch would win the game 2-1 and qualify for the final. The Soviets would face Italy in Stuttgart. And Italy was a tough team and all that. However, there was a pair of goals by Litovchenko and Protasov. And the Soviets won 2-0 and would be going on to the championship against the Dutch. The Dutch had a good team. However, the Russians lost Kuznetsov due to a second yellow card. So he was suspended for the final. And Igor Belanov would be coming back to the Soviet starting lineup. So the Soviets went with a 4-4-2. Four defenders, 4 midfielders, and 2 forwards. Their goalie was their captain, Renat Desev. They had Demianko, Aleynikov, Kiri Tolan, and Rats in the back. They had Litovchenko, Savarov, Mikhailichenko, and Gotsmanov. In the midfield, Protasov and Belanov would be your forwards. The Dutch also went 4-4-2. Their goalie was Hans van Breukelen. Their defenders were Barry Van Ura, Frank Rijkaard, Ronald Koeman, and Adrie van Tiegelen. Their midfielders were Gerald Vandenberg, Jan Wouters, Arnold Muller, and Erwin Koeman, with captain Ruud Gullit in the front with Marco van Basten. So anyway, it was a humongous one. So Munich would host the game. 72,000 fans would watch this game. Russia had a chance in the second minute with Lechonchenko, but he missed. He had another chance in the 30th minute, but his shot was straight at the goalie. Then in the 33rd minute, the Dutch would take the lead. It was on a corner. Evan Koeman's set piece was headed away. The ball was in the box. Van Basten nodded to Ruud Gullit, and he would put it in with a header. Belanov had a chance before time was up in the first half, but he went over the crossbar. So basically, that was it. 1-0 through one half. However, the second half was huge as the Dutch would score one of the most iconic goals in Euro history. As Vitiginen would dispossess Lechachenko passed to Arnold Mullen, who made a run down the left wing and played a high cross to the far side of the box. And Van Basten would volley the ball, or in layman's terms, kick the ball where the ball was still in the air and had not bounced on the ground or to another player from a very tight angle. It somehow dipped under the crossbar, and it was 2-0. It was just so iconic. Of course, that's the picture that you see is of Van Basten finishing his volley. And it was just pure imagination whatsoever. There was a penalty kick by the Soviets. Belanov took the shot, but Van Breukelen, the goalie, saw it and the ball struck his knee. Despite Sergei Balchika and Viktor Pasulko coming on for Gosmanov and Protasov, respectively, the Soviets couldn't do anything about it, and the Dutch won 2-0. Van Basten actually said he had begun to tire and decided he needed to take a risk and shoot. It was just amazing, all that. It was unstoppable and all that. Anyway, the Netherlands and the Soviet Union actually both went to the 1990 World Cup. The Dutch were taken out in the second round by Germany, who wanted revenge for Euro 88 and that loss. And the Soviets lost to Romania and Argentina. And I don't know how they did against Cameroon. But regardless, the Soviets did not go to the knockout stage. And that was the last tournament before the dissolution of the Soviet Union. But yeah, if you look at all the great Euro moments going on and all that, Platini's 1984 Euro, Denmark coming out of freaking nowhere to win the 92 championship, Greece coming out of nowhere to win the 2004 tournament, Paul Gascoigne's failed toe pick at the ball that would have put it in the net and get England to the finals in 96. David Trezeguet's golden goal in the 2000 final for France over Italy. And of course, Portugal over France in extra time. It was just beautiful. It was just the way the beautiful game was played. And Van Basten's volley will always be remembered. Anyhow, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do.